I kept on looking into the back area of the store behind the counter, wondering where they kept all of their auto parts. Just go take a look at a few in your area and you'll see that there are these very tall metal shelves that go back for 50 or 100 feet behind the counter, stocked with nothing but auto parts for all the people that come in with all different types of cars that need all different types of auto parts. I really don't know where they're keeping this stuff. There is a staircase behind there, but I've never seen something like that. Usually for convenience sake, they would have a huge area of large metal shelves that the employee could go find whatever auto part he needs while staying close to the cash registers in the store to keep an eye on things. And it's kind of convenient when you're carrying these auto parts back and forth to the counter not to have to run upstairs to this back kind of hidden staircase here and go hunting for a product upstairs while leaving your store unattended and whatever customers you have in the front room alone. Usually auto parts stores are not set up like this. At the very least, it's not convenient to get auto parts in this manner. So at that point, I bought a container of oil. And of course, I kept the receipt and I left the auto parts store.
You all set?
Yes, sir.
Oh, come on down. This happens up here in Hillsborough.
So when I was over there, I saw that there was a sign there underneath the auto parts store sign for New England Custom Collision. But at that time, I really didn't think it was going to be in the same building. I thought it was a sign to advertise a business in the nearby area. When I was over there, I had no idea that that body shop was actually in the same building behind the auto parts store. I thought that the entire building would be an auto parts store, but after reviewing the footage, I saw that the back of the building, those garage doors, those bays, belonged to another company called New England Custom Collision. I would not be surprised if that building had been designed to be a complete auto parts store, because you would usually need that much space to house all the auto parts that you'll need to run a functioning business. And then there is another sign, again, that is difficult to read, especially from the road, and it says New England Custom and Collision, and I can barely make out the rest. It says quality collision repair since 1994. We want your business. And again, that is one of the worst signs I have ever seen to advertise a business. For one, you can't read it. Two, it does not attract attention. It's like these people are going out of their way to put up signs that you could barely read. So I thought it was strange that the back 3/4 of this building were not an auto parts store, but actually an auto body shop. So I did not figure that out until later, until I got home and looked closely at the footage. Since this building looks like many auto parts stores that I have seen, I think that this building was designed to be an auto parts store. That way, the customers could park in the larger lot on this side of the building, while deliveries could be made on the narrow side of the building, where there's basically just a driveway. So a truck would back in on this side of the building and have just enough room to take the deliveries through one of these garage doors in back. Yet instead, in the back of the building where you see these garage doors, this is where the Custom Collision body shop is. This seems very strange that the building would be built this way, like many auto parts buildings I have seen, and then someone would divide the building in half and then rent one side of it to the Custom Collision body shop. It just does not make any sense. Because first, where do you store all of the auto parts? And second, where do you get your deliveries of auto parts? The only doors to the auto parts store seem to be these two front doors. And you could not expect to have a delivery driver pull a large truck in front of the store and then run hundreds of auto parts, some being whole muffler and exhaust systems, into the store, around the counter, and then up this back staircase up here, while the employees are trying to help customers. This setup just does not make any sense. Next, we have this shady auto body shop in the back called Custom Collision, and it seems as if it has been hidden almost on purpose, or in the very least, the owners have gone out of their way to get signs that are extremely hard to read, especially from the road, and they do not do a very good job on identifying where the auto body shop even is. So I went to the Custom Collision website, and they advertise that they specialize on auto body work on custom cars. And they have photographs of some old cars that they have restored. And they also have several photographs that are obviously taken at their garage. So I looked closely at these photographs and got an idea on how their garage is most likely set up. So if you're outside the Custom Collision body shop, they have an office all the way to the left. And then I believe in the first bay toward the back, they have what is called a spray booth. And then they have two more garage bays where they could work on cars. So if you're looking on the other side of the building, the office will be on the far right. And then right here toward the middle will be where the spray booth is. And then to the left of that, they're going to have two more bays, is what it seems to me. So then I went to the Custom Collision website. And they advertise that they have what is called a Future Cure downdraft spray booth. And they seem to be very proud of that feature and have several photographs of auto parts and cars inside their Future Cure spray booth. So I was not familiar with what a spray booth actually did. So I looked up Future Cure spray booth on the internet and found that they have a website. And of course, they are selling these specialized booths for the purpose of spray painting things, usually automobiles. And the Future Cure website has a few pages that describe how their spray booths function. So I read all of that and then looked at the photographs on the Custom Collision website and saw that Custom Collision has what appears to be one of the better spray booths sold by Future Cure. So the spray booth is a steel garage, and that steel garage is installed inside an auto body shop, and that way they could spray paint any number of vehicles without worrying about all the fumes released from the spray paint. So the spray booths are designed with vents on the ceiling where fresh air is pulled into the booth, and then while the vehicle or auto parts are being spray painted, there are also exhaust vents on the rear wall that pull all the incoming air along with all the excess spray paint and the fumes, and it's pulled all out through there. That way you could spray paint large objects like whole cars without the dangerous paint fumes and all the extra paint filling the air. All of that gets pulled out of the spray booth and released outside. And at the Custom Collision building, I think that it may be released up here. It is hard to assume that this is paint because it is only one color, and that is black. And this black substance has gotten all over the side of the building. So much in fact that it looks like soot from a chimney. Also, it states on the Future Cure website that there are filters that capture all the excess paint so that the system will not become clogged up. So that these Future Cure spray booths can function very well, they advertise that there is also a very sophisticated AMU system, and that stands for air makeup system. And that system regulates air pressure inside the booth so that when you open the door to go in or out of the spray paint booth, air from outside the booth containing dust, dirt, and other particles from the auto body shop will not be pulled into the spray paint booth and then ruin the paint job on the automobile. By regulating the air pressure so that there is a balance between the air pressure inside the booth in relation to the air pressure of the auto body shop, most likely the AMU system would also prevent the air that is inside the booth from being pulled out the door and then go into the surrounding shop. Besides that, the Future Cure website advertises that their spray booths are made from steel, galvanized steel, and also cold rolled steel. And the booth is fitted with gaskets that are a very important feature to keep dirt and dust from entering the booth. So they write, and I quote, "Just like in a submarine, the seal mounts are on the bulkhead and not on the door. The gasket should be in one piece and run a full 360 degrees around the frame. If the door is going to leak, chances are that it will leak at a square corner. The gasket rarely leaks down the straight side. It is critically important that the door frame has a radiused corner. There is no square corners on a submarine." So they are talking about these special gaskets and how it's very important to minimize any leaks. So these booths are designed extremely well with galvanized steel and specially designed gaskets to prevent any leaks. And these booths are equipped with a ventilation system that regulates air pressure so that you can open these doors and not expect any shop air to be pulled into the booth or any unhealthy gases or fumes to be pulled out of the booth and go into the surrounding shop area that could potentially hurt the fine, upstanding employees at Custom Collision. So the Future Cure paint booth is something like an air chamber or a gas chamber that regulates the incoming air with the outgoing air. That way, you could introduce whatever paint fumes or gases they may have into this chamber without worrying about losing control of such fumes or gases. So I guess that the AMU system is usually set to automatically balance the air pressure at all times, and it's all automated. However, I am going to guess that they could override the automated system and then manually adjust the controls and adjust the intake and exhaust fans on their own. So I guess that they could also use this AMU system manually to adjust the air pressure so that more air is being drawn out than what is being brought in, or vice versa. The last thing that I would like to point out is this large metal container outside. It has 3 or 4 hoses connected to it, and a similar hose is connected to a valve that's coming out of this gray shed. So it appears as if whatever is in the shed has something to do with the large metal container. And as I said in part 8, there is a sign on the shed that says, "In case of emergency, call Geo Insight Incorporated at 1-800-217-1953. I read through their website and they seem very vague, almost on purpose about what they do there.